What is going on today, YouTube? It's your boy CP, and today we're back with a brand new video. Today, I want to talk to you guys about my favorite TV show, which is Riverdale. I've said that 1,000 times before, I know, but in case you didn't know, yeah, Riverdale is my favorite TV show. So basically, I'm gonna give y'all a spoiler alert right now, because if you're behind by any amount of episodes, it doesn't matter if you're behind by one episode or 100. If you're behind, I suggest you stop watching this video because there are going to be a bunch of spoilers in this. So basically, what I want to talk to you guys about is just some theories about Riverdale that I have. Cause so basically this entire season, just to give you guys like a little background of it. So this entire season of Riverdale, at the beginning, well, technically it was at the end of the last season. They had a flash forward where they were trying to bury a body, and then they were burning their clothes, and everybody's like, yo, like, what's going on? And Jughead didn't have to be in the picture, but Betty, Archie, and Veronica were. So like everybody assumed, oh, they had killed Jughead, this, that, and the third. Now there have been, so basically at the beginning of this season, what I thought had happened, they didn't kill Jughead. What I thought had happened was that Jughead was actually getting rid of the body of a person that they killed. And I feel like the person that they killed was the new principal, because they're adding a new principal. Like that's what happens a lot in TV shows like that. They'll bring in a new character just to kill them off later. So that's just the way it goes. But now it's toward the end. The final, we're gonna figure out like what happened in the episode that's supposed to come out tomorrow, or Thursday, depending if you watch it through the app or if you watch it on live TV. Me, I normally watch it through the app because I'm normally out running around doing stuff on Wednesday nights. But anyway, so basically, I have a theory. So, okay, I can't tell you guys my theory without going over what happened in the most recent episode. So basically, long story short, Brett, look, I'm telling you guys all this stuff, and like you might not even see, you might be a whole season behind. You'll be like, who's Brett? But just bear with me. So basically, I think Brett had kind of tricked all four of them to go into the woods, and then eventually, Donna, she had tricked Betty into like doing this psychological thing where she says a word and like it causes her to kill somebody that she cares about. So she used that word on Betty, and then apparently they're trying to imply that Betty killed Jughead. I don't think that's what happened. I think what happened was Jughead and Betty had a plan, and Betty knew what she was going to try to do. So Betty was like, "All right, well, I'm just act like she triggered me, I guess," and then I guess they're faking Jughead's death for whatever reason. So I guess so maybe it's like so they can get a little bit more inside knowledge on Stonewall Prep and figure out the truth. So if they're distracted thinking, oh, Jughead's dead, Jughead can do a bunch of investigating on the low. And part of me thinks that because if you look back to season one, everybody had thought that Jason was shot, and that was just the end of it. But they were trying to figure out who shot him. However, what really happened was Jason was trying to run away and get out of Riverdale, but eventually he got kidnapped, and then he was shot. So nobody really like knew until the very. So I feel like Riverdale does that a lot. And also at the end of one other season, Jughead was in this fight with the Ghoulies, and what ended up happening was he was in a coma for a short period of time, and everybody was like, "Oh, Jughead's dead, this, that, and the third." And my first thought is they can't kill Jughead because one, he's a narrator, and you can't kill the narrator of the show, and two, he's one of the main characters, and it's like if you can't really kill one of the main characters because then the show's over, but just killing Jughead wouldn't have really been a settling ending. So like, there's no possible way they killed him, and there's no possible way that's gonna be the end of the show because Riverdale is just too successful at this point. So basically, I think they're kind of doing a similar thing. They're pretty much saying like, "Oh, we're gonna act like we killed Jughead again, even though he's alright, because he might not even be dead. He might be in another coma, or I really don't know, but this is just my theory of it. Now, I think that, like I said, I think they're faking it so they can investigate on the that's just my theory of it. I'm not saying this is what's actually happening. I don't know the writers of Riverdale. I don't know anybody from Riverdale that would know the answer. Like, yo, what's going on? I don't. However, this is just what I theorize. This is what a lot of people do. That they always have their little fan theories, and this is kind of my fan theory about Riverdale. So I think that they're faking Jughead's death. He's going after. So this next episode, I feel like it's going to be like the mid-season finale or whatever, and then they'll come back in like April, May, June, whenever. But so I mean, but it might not be the end of it, but they might just be taking like a mid-season break or whatever. I don't know. But just for argument's sake, let's just say it that show keeps going on. So I think what's happening is they're going to fake his death, and then they're going to be in contact. Betty and Jughead, who that's who they is, but Betty and Jughead, I feel like they're going to be in contact in some way, shape, or form. And what's likely going to happen, they're going to have Jughead hide out in the bunker, because a lot of people always forget about that bunker. Like I sometimes forget about it, but I was like, wait, they could just hide in the bunker. So he might hang out there. Betty might visit him every once in a while, bring him some food, hang out with him, do whatever, and then like hey, like, shh, um, so I learned this today about Stonewall. They're hiding something. Yeah. So that's why I think like they're faking his death, so because they got something bigger planned. Because Jughead had an entire plan going. I feel like he knew Brett was planning something to get him killed or hurt or some way, shape, or form. So what they ended up doing was it's like, okay, he's going to do this, so let's make him think that he accomplished that. In reality, we're actually getting closer to the truth because they're trying to figure out like why did I can't remember his name, but why did the dude jump out the window? Because they said it was suicide, but in reality he was driven. It was kind of driven to murder, or not to murder, but to suicide. So it's considered a murder. So I really think Jughead is not dead. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. So Jughead is not dead. Um, Betty didn't kill him. He didn't. He didn't. They didn't kill anybody. So I just think that like there's no possible way they're gonna kill. So basically, they have a lot of people call them the core four. So so the core four is basically Veronica, Archie, Betty, Jughead. Those four, they can't die. They can't be written off the show because it circles around those four. So when the story's circling around them, you can't take them out of the show because then the show's going to end. Or so, for example, they took Josie off of the show, and then now she has like her own little spin-off doing whatever. But mind you, even in that spin-off that she has, she even mentions like, "Oh, I'm from Riverdale." So basically, they can't write her off completely. Like they can mention her, and they can say like, "Oh, Josie, this," but they cannot just be like, "Okay, this person doesn't exist anymore," because it just doesn't make any sense. So that's why I think like you can't kill off a main character. And if you're real close to that actual core four, like for example, Cheryl, she's pretty much immune to being killed or written off anyway because she's too close to the four of them because she's interacted enough with Jughead, Betty, Veronica, and Archie enough times where it's like okay, she's not officially the core four, but she's close enough to them where she can't be killed off or it's gonna leave a lot of holes in the story. Like as of right now, she's doing this rum thing with Veronica. So now, if she was to get killed off, like Veronica's gonna have to deal with that, or then that's not gonna work, and so it's gonna be too hard writing. Now, if something happens to one of the characters, and then they have to miss some time, or um, God forbid that one of them dies. Like for example, Luke Perry, rest in peace, because he was a great actor, and he was a great part of the show. Even though Luke Perry died, just about every single episode they mentioned Archie's dad, aka Luke Perry, and they mention him like, oh, he was a good man, this and third. But I feel like when they do that, they're not just mentioning he was a great actor. Just I think they're trying to say in general, he was a great person, whether he was acting or if he was just being genuine. So it doesn't matter if he was playing Fred Andrews or he was being Luke Perry. He was a great person in general, and he was probably one of the kindest people you'd ever meet. So, going back to the whole Jughead situation, they can't kill him off. They, like I said, they tried doing it once, didn't work out. It honestly upset a lot of the fans. Like I saw so many tweets and Instagram posts talking about, oh, you can't kill Jughead, you can't kill Jughead, this and it makes sense because you can't kill the narrator of the show. That, like, why would you kill the narrator of the show, especially if that narrator is one of the main characters? Like that, if you're going to do that, you got to end the show entirely, unless you're going to try to write him back to life or something like that. Now, another theory that I have, and this is actually something I used to think was going on the entire time, but then like as later the season got on, I was like, oh, maybe it's not true, maybe it's not true, and it has a slight chance of still being true, but I highly doubt it. So, a theory that I used to have is that I think that the whole mystery of it is just a movie that Jughead is doing, because he has to write these Baxter Brothers stories, and it's supposed to be a murder mystery. So what I think he's trying to get creative with it. Instead of doing like an actual written story, he said, "Why don't I have everybody I know act it out, and they can do this, they can do that, you do this, you do." So it's pretty much being a director and a screenwriter. So he's taking it to that whole another level. Instead of it just doing books, he's now like, okay, let's make a movie about it. So I thought that would be really creative. And like I said, it's a slight possibility that's what they're doing. And then at the end, after they figured out like, oh, who killed Jughead, it's gonna be like, oh, that's a wrap. And then, oh, perfect, like, and they're gonna be like, yo, I thought he actually died. But really, what's not known to the fans is that they're actually just doing an entire movie. Now, like I said, I don't know if that's the truth, but it's just a theory that I thought. I was like, what if he's doing something a little bit more creative instead of just writing a book? He's like, okay, let me do a whole movie about it, or a documentary, or whatever you want to call it. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and make sure you leave a like and comment below what's your favorite TV show, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.